why I'm going to discuss this thing in detail? Because going forward in your project, you will see that the use of EPL statement in a different manner. Then you should not be confused. What is the meaning of the condition, right? What is how they are using this? It's not like that you will see the one for loop which is going to be start from I and less than 5, right? This is not the case. Or you will not find that only if and else is there. You are writing some code inside the if block and you are writing some code inside the else block. Apart from that, there are many things that you need to log. And those things are going to be used frequently when you start working for any industry. And if those and the people who are already started working for industry, they might be aware of all these things. But definitely at the end of this session, you will learn something new, right? So first of all, we need to understand what is selection branching, or you can say this is also decision making control flow statement. See, the selection branching or a decision making statement also is basically a programming language feature which is very similar to our real life. For example, you might have one situation where you will decide whether you want to go to office or you want to go to theater to watch a movie. And the condition that if it is raining. If it is raining, then I will go to, if it is not raining, okay. If it is not raining, then I will go to office. Else, if it is raining, then I will go to watch a movie in the theater. So the condition here is that rain. So the same thing we can also implement in our programming world. Right? In our programming world, we will also have some situation where we want to execute certain piece of code when the some condition is failed. Right? If the condition is passed, we are going to use certain piece of code, and if the condition is failed, we might be going to execute some other piece of condition or other piece of code. Right? This thing you can implement using the selection, branching, or decision making control flow statement. And in CSharp, we are divided this category control flow statement into two types. One is EPL statement, another is switch statement. Let us start the discussion with EPL statement. You can see, remember, writing the else block is optional. If you are not writing the else block, then there is no issue. But if condition is mandatory, if condition can be exist without else condition, but the else condition cannot be exist without the if condition. Okay, let us first prove this one. See, I'm writing some if condition. I'm not getting any error. I'm not writing the else condition. I'm not getting any error. I'm writing the else condition. I'm not getting any error. That means if condition is mandatory, else condition is optional. If you write else condition, it is well and fine. If you are not writing else condition, then it is also well and fine. But if you are writing else condition, the existence of if is mandatory. For example, if I comment this line, then I will get a compile time error. What is this error? Is saying invalid expression term else. You cannot start an expression with the else without its if existence, right? So writing if is mandatory. If you are writing if without else, it is well and fine, but you cannot write else without if condition. That is the first point you need to understand. Now let us see first. Let us move into the concept step by step. Now let us see some example without using the else condition. Then I will show you some example using else condition. Then I will show you example something called the nested if else. Then I will show you some example using if else ladder. Right? All these things we are going to discuss one by one. So you can see this is the syntax. Syntax means if condition and the statement. So what is going to happen if this condition provided in the if block is true, then the statements written inside the if condition is going to be executed, right? So this is nothing but if condition, and else is optional. So you can see in the syntax or diagram. So there is no else block. That means if condition can exist without else block. Now, to understand these things in a better manner, I have provided the flowchart also here. So your program execution start, and inside the program execution you have the if condition, and in the if condition you might be have two values. What are the values? The if condition might give you or return you true, or it might be return you false. If it return you true, then you need to execute the statement and then you need to end the program. If it is false, then nothing to be executed and you just come and you need to end the program. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now let us write a program to check whether the number is greater than 10 using the if statement. Okay. Okay, let me copy the code and see. So we are going to write a program in which we will take the number from the user. Once you take the number from user, then we will check whether that number is greater than 10 or not. If it is greater than 10, then we need to print that this number is greater than 10, and we will end the main method. If the number is not greater than 10, we are not going to show anything. Now can anybody tell me what is this console.readLine method?
Read the values, sir.
Yeah, it will read the values from the keyword. In which format? String, integer, boolean, or in which format it will read the values?
String.
Right. And if you want to convert the string to integer type, then you need to use converter2 method. Other options are also there, integer.parse and integer.tryparse. But here I am going with converter2 into 32. Right. So what is, can anybody tell me what is the difference between int and int 32?
Machine learning class. Did you go computer learning class?
No, I never did computer. I did this class before, but this is like advanced. This is advanced CSharp.
Hello.
C#.
Is there, if I'm writing int and if I'm writing int 32, is there any difference between these two?
Both are same, sir.
Both are same. Int actually the shorthand name for int 32, right? So this is an helper method I'm using. And what is the use of this 2 int 32 method?
It's only $70 for 4 months. You should join this class for real. Like, cause like what's cool about these guys is they like break that shit down from like the really needing like from the basics. So like you don't have to have no experience. You can go like zero, like literally zero experience. Oh, shit, yes. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Okay. So basically you can say I'm taking the number from the keyword, and if the number is 10, I'm printing that this number is greater than 10, then I'm ending the block. Let's do this practically. Okay, enter the number. I'm entering the number 7. See, you can see the statement which I've written inside the if block is not executed. Why it is not executed? Because this number, what I'm entering is 7. 7 is not greater than 10. And when this number is not greater than 10, that means this will return false. So once it return false, then this statement is not going to be executed. Right now, again, let's run the application and enter the number as 15. And please observe, this time the two statements written inside the if block is going to be executed. Is that clear? What is the use of this if condition?
Yes, sir. If it is true, then it statement is print.
Sorry?
If it is true, then a statement is print. If it is false, then
See,
not.
see, that basically depend on the if condition. So here number is greater than 10. So even you can also write it true and false like this. So if true means what? If true means, then execute the give me 1 minute.
Sir, in console.writeline method, you are using dollar symbol, right?
See,
what is the use of the symbol?
See, if the condition is true, so whatever you write inside this parenthesis, it is going to return you either true or false. whatever you write inside this parenthesis of if statement is going to return you always true or false. If it is returning true, which means whatever you return inside the if block is going to be executed. If it is return false, then whatever you write inside the true block is going to be skipped. This statement is not going to be executed. And you can only write if you can only write true false or any expression which return you true and false, right? Any expression which return you true and false, because it is mandatory to return true or false. But if I'm writing like this, I'm not writing any expression which is returning true and false, then what you can see here, I'm writing number means 10. It is not either a true value or false value, or it is not returning anything. So you can see cannot implicitly convert type into bool. What it means, now inside the if block, inside the if statement, you need to write an expression or you need to write some values which should return you true or false, right? You can even write true or you can even write false here, right? Even you can also write some expression which might return you true or false like this, but you cannot write anything which is not returning boolean value. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you know, once this condition is true, then the statement, whatever the statement written inside. So when I'm saying if block means, so open and closing curly braces, whatever code you have written inside this open and close curly braces is nothing but your if statement block. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Now, if statement without curly braces. The if statement can also exist without curly braces. Let's see the example now. Now, if you look at the statement, the same example I have written here, but you can see this is our if block with curly braces, right? But in our previous example, I have written this code, right? But in this case, I have just removed this curly braces. It is also acceptable, right? If you are writing the if condition without curly braces, then it is also acceptable. Then what is the thing that you need to remember is, if you are writing the if condition without curly braces, then the only followed statement it belongs to the if block. That means here I have three statements. So these three statements are after the if block. Then only this statement belongs to if block. This statement not belongs to if block, right? So if you are writing the if condition without curly braces, it is exist and you can write, but in that case only one statement followed by if block belongs to the if block. So in this case we have three statements, right? You can say after the if block we have written three statements, but among the three statements this is the only statement which belongs to if block. If you are not writing the curly braces, if you are not writing the curly braces, the only followed statement belongs to the if block. Now if I execute the program, if this condition is satisfied, this statement is going to be executed. If this condition is not satisfied, then this statement is not going to be executed. Irrespective of this condition, whether it is true or false, this statement or these two statement you can say is going to be executed, right? Let's run the application. Let's enter the number as 5. See, end of the main method. That means, is this statement executed? Line number 12? No. Line number 12 is not executed. Why it is not executed? Because this is the only statement belongs to if block. If we are not putting the curly braces, right? But this statement, line number 13, line number 13 not belongs to if now. In previous example, we have written curly braces and we can put any number of statements. But if you are not using the curly braces, then the only single followed statement, immediately followed statement belongs to the if block. Now let's run the application and see once more. I'm entering 15. Now you can see that statement is executed. Line number 12 is executed now or not? Yes, now it is executed. Irrespective of the true and false, this end of the main method statement is always going to be executed. Why? Because it is not part of the if conditional statement. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if statement without curly braces is also exist. In that case, only the followed single statement, immediately followed statement, is belongs to the if condition. Okay. See, in this case, I have written this statement. So the same example here, you can see this statement belongs to if block and this statement not belongs to if block, right? So the statement written in red color belongs to if block and the statement written in black color or any statement followed by the black color is not belongs to the if block. Okay, so the point that you need to keep in mind is that if you have a single statement for if block, then you can represent that statement either using curly braces or without using curly braces. But if you have more than one statement inside the if block, then it is mandatory to use curly braces. I like to use curly braces in my programming, even if the condition contains a single statement. Why? Because the curly braces explicitly specify where the if block started and where it is ended, right? So what he is saying now, if your if condition contains a single statement, then you can write the statement using curly braces or without using curly braces like this, right? But if you want to execute multiple statement as part of the if conditional block, then it is mandatory to use curly braces like this, right? One statement, if you want to execute, it is optional using the curly braces. But more than one statement, mandatory using the curly braces. But my programming style is I always prefer to use curly braces, even if the statement is single statement, right? I like to use like this. Now, in my company, even we are arguing with my co-developers. There, some of the developer prefer to use like this. Some of the developer prefer to like this. My colleague like this, and I like this. He is a valid point, and I also am having a valid point. What is his valid point? His valid point is that you are writing the code in 5 line of code. I am doing the same in a 2 line of code. Then if it is done in 2 line of code, then why I'm going to write the same thing in 4 line of code, right? So in this 1, 2, 3, 4, waste of 2 line, your program length is going to be increased. His point is valid. Then I also argue the same thing. See, if you are writing the code, then if someone who doesn't know the use of if else block that completely or that frequently, right? If he is not aware about this curly braces, if he doesn't know that for writing the if condition curly braces is mandatory, and if he doesn't know that even if I have a single statement, I can write the statement without curly braces. If he is not aware about this, then he might be get confused. So if I'm putting the curly braces, then it is explicitly telling that this statement belongs to the if else block, right? So both are having the valid point. It is personal choice, right? Personal choice. His personal choice is to use like this. He doesn't think about the others. My personal choice is like this because I think about others. Now it is your personal opinion whether you want to use this approach or that approach. But behind the scene, both are going to do the same thing. Even there is no increment in performance, right? Both are going to give you the same performance. It is your personal opinion or personal choice. If you are having a single statement, how you can write the if block. Whether you are going to write the if block with curly braces or without curly braces, that is your personal choice. Is that clear? Any doubt regarding this?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, so we have discussed the if block. We have discussed if block without else. We have discussed if block with curly braces. We have discussed if block without curly braces. And the point that we concluded, if you are having a single statement belongs to a if block, you can write that single statement using curly braces or without using curly braces. But if you want to execute to multiple statement as part of the if block, then it is mandatory to use curly braces. Now let's move to the second category, if else statement. So writing the else block is optional, but in some situation where you have two options, right? The option is that if the condition is satisfied, I need to execute some statement. Even if the condition is false, I want to execute some other statement, right? So when you want to execute different statement, or when you want to execute one task when the condition is satisfied, and another task when the condition is false, so in that case you need to use if else conditional statement, right? So you can look at the syntax. If the condition is statement, the if statement is going to be executed. If the condition is false, the else statement is going to be executed, right? The point that you need to remember is that only one block of statement, either if block or else block, is going to be executed at any given point of
ये
time.
4 मंथ अभी सेशन चलेगा ये क्या सेशन है वो?
Hello, is anybody saying anything? Is anyone joined from outside of this group? Okay, fine. So the point that you need to remember, at any given point of time, either the if statement or the else statements are going to be executed. Both if
चलेगा
statement,
मतलब
I'm getting disturbed. Okay. So either if statement block or else statement block. Only one statement block is going to be executed at any point of time. And the statement block is basically depend on the if condition. If this condition returns true, then this if statement block is going to be executed. If this condition returns false, then this block, particularly this block, what I am showing here, will be skipped and the else block statement is going to be executed. Now, is it mandatory to use else block? No, it is not mandatory to use else block. It is optional block, and we have already seen some example without using else block. You can use only if block also. That is, we have already seen. If you want to provide some additional information, or if you want to perform some additional task, or if you want to execute some additional statement or additional code, when the if condition is false, then in that case you need to use else statement. Right now, let's look at the flowchart so that you can understand it clearly. So my program execution start. Once the program execution start, I have the condition. So this condition is nothing but my if condition. Right. When the condition is executed, when the inside the if condition means it might be a directly true false value, or it might be an expression which returns Boolean value, right? If the Boolean value what it returns is true, then the if block statement is going to be executed. If the Boolean expression written inside the if statement is returns false, then the else block of statement is going to be executed. And once the either if statement completed or if statement completed, it will come to the end, right? And remember, as already I discussed, the if and else are reserved word. Reserved word means you can say these are keyword. Keyword means you cannot use this reserved word or keyword for providing any naming. You cannot provide the name for a variable properties class method as if, or you cannot provide the same for else, right? These are reserved word. Its meaning is fixed. You cannot use this word for providing naming for any of your variable properties, method, class, interface, anything, etc. Right? Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we are going to see one example using the if else conditional statement. So what we are going to do, we are going to write a program to check whether a number is odd or even, right? Program to check whether a number is odd or even. And we know the logic for how to decide whether a number is odd or even. If we do a modulus division with the number, and if we are getting the remainder as 0, then the number is a even number. And if we are not getting 0, if we are getting 1, then the number is an odd number. So what you are doing here, you can see we are asking the user to enter a number. Once the user enters the number, it is in the form of a string. And we know we want to convert that number string to integer. That's why we are using here converter to int32 method. Then inside the if condition, we are providing our expression. The expression is number modulus 2 equals to 0. So when I do this operation, then it will return you either 0 or 1. If it returns 0, then this is the comparison operator. 0 equals to 0, it is returned true. So the condition is satisfied. So this statement block is going to be executed. If I enter a number and if I do a modulus division with 2, and if the remainder is 1, then in that case 1 equals to 0. The condition is going to be false. If the condition is false, this statement block is going to be skipped. And this statement block is going to be executed, right? So let's run this application and see this practically. See, I'm writing 15. So if I'm writing 15, let's execute this step by step. Fifteen.
Press enter.
Yeah. See, 15 here, and we got the controller here now. Now, so the number is what? 15. So you can see 15. And if you want to see what exactly it is returning, so there is something called quick watch. See, so there is something called quick watch. So number modulus 2 equals to 0. So what value it is returning? False. Yes or no? You know what I have done now? If you want to evaluate an expression dynamically at runtime, and if you want to check what exactly it is returning, so you can take the help of a quick watch. So what you need to do, you just need to select the number, select the expression, right click, and there is an option called quick watch. You can see the option quick watch, click on this. Once you click on this quick watch, then it will show you the value. So this is the expression and this is the value, right? And you can see this is returning false. So once it return false, then this statement block is going to be skipped, and the controller directly come to this statement block. Please observe, I'm pressing function F10 key. So the control directly move to this part or not. So that means what? Now this statement block is skipped. So once it come to this part, then it will execute this statement and then comes to the end. So now you can see the output. 15 is an odd number. Clear or not? Now let's run once more. Let's enter the number 10. Now we have got the controller here, right?
I just want to ask you one thing. The breakpoints, you are putting the breakpoints, right? Just
Yes.
want to know how you easily put the breakpoints between the blocks. Yeah.
See, so simply suppose you want to put a breakpoint here. You can see line number 16 or line number 15. Simply click on this. Simply left click on this. It will put a breakpoint. Left click, put a breakpoint. Again, from the mouse, click once more. It will remove the breakpoint. Another option is that you can select the right click option here, and you can select something called insert breakpoint. Yeah, you can see this breakpoint and insert breakpoint option. So you can also put a breakpoint like this. Even you can also do the things. And once you insert the breakpoint, then if you want to remove, then just click on that. It will remove the breakpoint. Is that clear? You know how to put a breakpoint?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So then to see, whenever you are debugging and so whenever you are putting the breakpoint means you are debugging the application. Debugging the application means you are checking the application code line by line. in each and every line what is happening, what value I am getting, what is the result of an expression, what is I'm printing on the console, right? So in this case, you can see already two statements are executed. When this statement executed, it will show you enter a number. When this statement is executed, I enter a number. When I press enter, that number is assigned to this integer variable. You can see when I move the cursor over the integer, I'm getting number. And when this statement is executed, it will return either true or false. And if it is returned true, then it will move inside this block. If return false, then it will move inside this block. Now the number is 10. Now if you check this in the quick watch, then you will see that it is returning true because number modulus are 2. 10 modulus 2. Remainder is 0. 0 equals to 0. Returning true. Right? Now I'm pressing F10. So when I'm pressing F10, it will move to the next line. Again press F10, it will move to the next line. So it moves to this line, but not yet this statement is executed. You can see this statement, whatever written inside the right line block is not yet executed. It is just moved to this statement. So once you press F10, it will execute that statement, and once executed, it will move to the next line. Press F10, it will execute that statement and move to the next line. Now you can see 10 is an even number. Clear? And once it comes to this statement, again it will not going to execute this block because the concept is that only one block is going to be executed at any given point of time, either the if block or the if block. Only one block is going to be executed at any particular time. You cannot execute both the block, or you cannot skip both the block. It is mandatory to be executed one block and mandatory to be skipped another block. If block is executing, else block will be skipped. If else block is executing, if block will be skipped. Right? Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, like the way we have discussed, we can have if block without curly braces. We can also have else block without curly braces. Right? See, like the way we have if block without curly braces, we can also have else block without curly braces. Putting the curly braces for a single statement is optional. So if you are writing the statement, it is also fine. Right? If you are removing this statement, it is also fine. But the thing is that only one statement, right? Inside this if block, I'm writing a single statement, and inside this else block, I'm writing a single statement. So this statement belongs to if block, and this statement only belongs to else block. Now in this case, you can see the number is 10, and I'm checking the condition 10 equals to 10. So what will be the output? High. Is this statement is going to be executed in this case? No, this statement is not going to be executed. Is this statement is going to be executed? Yes, this statement is going to be executed. Why? Because this statement not belongs to else part. As part of the else statement, the immediate statement only belongs to the else part. So this is the immediate statement followed by the else statement. Followed by the else keyword, this is the immediate statement. So this statement belongs to else part. If the condition is true, then this statement will be executed and this statement will be skipped. If the condition is false, then this statement will be skipped and this statement will be executed. Irrespective of the condition, this statement is always going to be executed. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Let's run the application. See, high and by. High, the condition is true, high. Condition is true, so else block is not going to be executed, and this by. Now let's do one thing. Instead of 10, let's make it as 12. So in this case, the condition will be false, and then it will print hello and bye. You can see this is hello and bye. This is skipped. Now, one more important thing. If you are writing if else condition, if you are writing the else condition of the corresponding if block, then you cannot write more than one statement without curly braces inside the if block. You cannot write more than one statement inside the if block without curly braces if it's having a corresponding else block. You can see I try to write two if statement inside the if block. But as per the logic, we know if you are not writing any curly braces, then the only immediate statement followed by the if block is belongs to the if condition, right? So in this case, this statement belongs to if block. Then what is about this statement? This is not belongs to if statement, and whenever we are writing if else condition, then the if block should be followed immediately by the else block, right? But in this case, this is the if block, but immediately it is not following else block. In between the if block and the else block, we have something another statement, right? So this is not possible. You
Hello?
understand? Yeah.
Sir, what is the error like? What error it is showing in like 11?
Invalid expression term else. So as I told you, else cannot exist without its if condition, right? Without writing else is optional, right? You if you are writing else or not for a if condition, that is not mandatory. You can but if you are writing else, then it should have a corresponding if block. But in this case, this else block have any immediate if block? No. This else block above statement is this statement. This is not a if block. The if block started here, if block ended here. This statement not belongs to if block. Okay. So for you better understanding, let's put like this. Let's put this statement inside the if block. Let's put this statement inside the else block. If you are writing the statement using curly braces, then it is something like this or not?
Yes,
In
sir.
this case, we are getting this error not because of this if condition. We are getting this error because of this else condition. Because else is not followed by any if condition, rather it is followed by some console.writeLine statement. As per the logic, if block can exist without else condition, but else cannot exist without if condition. And the if block should be immediately the followed block, right? But here it is not immediately followed, or the above statement is not a if block, rather it is a console statement. If you remove this, then you will not get any error. But if you write this, then you will get this error, right? You understood this or not?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Anybody having any doubt? See, here I have written the same code using if curly braces now. Now I'm just removing the curly braces. I'm going to get the same error. Why? Because this else block corresponding if block is not there. The corresponding console.writeLine statement is there. So this is not possible. If you want to write more than one statement, that is fine. You have to put the statement like this and there should be no error. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we are going to discuss something called a nested if-else statement. Nested if-else statement means what? Now we have if block and we have else block. Inside the if block, if you are writing another if-else statement, inside the else block, if you are writing another if-else statement, then this is nothing but one if-else statement is nested another if-else statement. So this is called a nested if-else statement. You can see this is my if block. Inside the if block, I am writing if else statement. Writing else here is optional. Inside the if block, if I am writing another if statement, then this is nothing but nested if. Inside the else block, if I am writing another if statement, this is nothing but nested else, because I am writing another if condition or another if else condition inside the if block or inside the else block. This is nothing but nested if else. Understood or not?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay. To make you better understanding, okay, let me, okay. Now, to understand these things better, look at this. This is your outer if block, and this is your outer else block. This is your inner if block, and this is your inner else block. This is your inner if block, but for this outer else block, and this is your inner else block for this outer else block. Now, here you have four conditions. Here you have four conditions. First, it will check this condition. If the condition is true, then it will enter into this block and it will skip this block. If the outer if condition is true and if the inner if condition is true, then this statement is going to be executed. Outer if and inner if statement. If the outer if block is true and inner if condition is false, then in this case, the outer if and inner else statement is going to be executed. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yeah, ask me. Okay, fine. So if the if condition is false, then this statement is going to be skipped. The controller directly move to else block. Again, in the else block, it will check the if condition. If this if condition is true, then what statement it will execute? Outer else and inner if. If this condition is false, then what it will execute? Outer else and inner else statement. Is that clear or not? So we have four conditions. True, true, this is. True, false, this is. False, true, this is. False, false, this is. So we have four conditions what I have mentioned here. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now to make you more understand regarding this, I have also the flowchart written. So our program start the condition check. If the condition is true, then the if block is going to be executed. If the condition is false, the else block is going to be executed, right? So again, inside the if block, we have another condition. If this condition is true, then the inner if block statement is executed. That is, if statement is going to be executed. If this condition is false, then what statement is going to be executed? If else statement is going to be executed. Coming to this part, if the condition is else, it will, if the condition is false, it will come into the else part. In else part, it will check the condition. If this condition is true, then else if block is going to be executed, right? And if this condition is false, then else statement is going to be executed. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now let us see one more example so that you will get more clarity regarding this. Okay. Let me resize the. Okay. So basically what my requirement is, I have three integer numbers and I need to find out the largest integer number. So first of all, I need to check A is greater than B. A is greater than B. If the condition is true, then it will enter inside the which block? Outer if block, right? Again, he is checking another if condition. If A is greater than C. If A is greater than B and if A is greater than C, which means who is the largest number between these three numbers? A is the largest number. And here I am just giving you an overview. This is the outer if block. If the condition is true, if the if condition is true, first it will enter inside the outer if block. And then again, it will check the inner if condition. And if the inner condition is true, then it will enter outer if and inner if block. And here it will assign the A value is the largest number, because if A is greater than B and if A is greater than C, it means A is the largest number. And if this condition is false, then it will enter inside the outer if but inner else. Outer if, inner else block. And if this condition is false, which means A greater than B, but A less than C, which means C is the largest number. Right? Now, if A is not greater than B, then it will enter inside the else block. So first it will execute outer else block. Once it executes the outer else block, then it will check whether B is greater than C or not. If A is less than B, but B is greater than C, which means B is the largest number. So it will execute outer else or inner if block and it will assign this. Now, if A is not greater than B and B is not greater than C, which means C is the largest number. So it will execute outer else and the inner else block. And finally, it will print. Now see, A is 15, B is 25, C is 10. So which block code should be executed? Can anybody tell me?
It will be executed like this block, else if.
Else if this statement will be executed,
Then after this, this if statement, so it will largest will be B. Yeah,
this statement will execute so first of all, A is 15, B is 25. So this condition will be followed. The control will come to the else part directly, right?
yeah,
At the else part first, it will execute this statement. Once execute this statement, it will check B is greater than C. B is 25, C is 10. Yes, B is greater than C. So it will execute this statement. So outer else block, outer else inner if block, then this statement. It should be our output if our understanding is correct, right?
yeah.
Okay. Now let's execute the program. So first outer else block is executed. Second, outer else inner if block is executed,
Yes,
and
sir.
the largest number is 25. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now do one more thing. So instead of making this B, I'm making C as 100. So now which statement is going to be executed? Can anybody tell me? First of all, tell me, is this block is going to be executed?
Yes.
No, no.
No, sir.
This block will be skipped because the condition first of all you need to check. A is greater than B. A is 15, B is 25. This condition is returning you false. If it is returning you false, in this condition, I'm not checking, I'm not taking the C value. I'm not checking the C value. Here I'm checking the A and B value. If A is 15 and B is 25 and 15 is greater than 25 means the condition is false. So it will move to this block. In this block, you will check. First of all, this statement will be executed. Here, this is the else block, right? B is greater than C, B is 25, C is 100. Is this condition true? No, this condition is false. This means this statement will be skipped.
Yes.
Once it is skipped, by default, this statement is going to be executed. So
Yes,
it will execute outer else, inner else, and the largest number is C. You can see
yes, sir.
outer else, outer else. So this is the thing. Now, if I make this as 150, now can anyone predict the output what we will get?
Outer if, inner if,
Outer if
inner if.
and outer if inner if block, and this is the statement, right? Outer if inner if, the largest number is 1. Is anybody having any doubt regarding this nested if else? Why I'm saying it is nested if? You can see this is another if block inside another if block. So we have an if else block inside the else block. So whenever we are putting one or another if block inside another if block, so even there is no limitation inside this if block, you can even put another if else condition. This is also accepted. So you can also write like this. So there is no issue. So there is no limitation. You can put the if else condition as many level as you want. But whenever you are putting one if else condition inside another if else condition, this is said to be nested if else. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, can I have asked?
Sure.
Sir, please see the program where.
Yeah.
Sir, likewise, if statement, can we have a condition with else?
Sorry.
Likewise, if condition,
Hmm.
we also have a else condition.
Yeah. See, this is our if condition, right? Writing the else condition is optional. If I'm commenting this else part, it is well and fine. It is fine. But if you are writing else means you should have some corresponding if block. This is going to give you error.
So
This
it
is
is
not
necessary to the condition will be corresponding.
yeah. For else block, there should be a if block. But for if block, else block is optional. Right. So if you are writing if block, then writing the else block is optional. Optional means it's your wish. If you want to write, you write. If you don't want to write, don't write. Comment this. So it is fine for me. You are not getting any compile time error. But if you are writing else block means it should have a corresponding if block. If there is no if block for this else block, then you will get compile time error. See, here we are getting compile time error. Invalid expression. What compile time error you are getting? Invalid expression term else. Invalid expression term else, right? So you cannot else cannot start a statement. So if you want to start, it should have a if block. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So writing else is always optional, but writing if is mandatory. If you are writing if, you can write else or you cannot write else. It's your personal choice, but you cannot write else without if condition,
Yes, sir.
right? And you can write this. You can put nested if else condition at many level you want. Here I'm showing you this is one level, this is another level, but inside this else block, even you can also write if else, right?
Right, sir.
So this is your personal choice, how many level you want to write. But if you remember, if you remember, in our previous article, I have shown you something called ternary operator, right or not? So ternary operator is basically used when you have a nested if else condition or when you have a complex if else statement. Instead of that complex if else statement, you can also write the ternary operator. Now I'm going to show you how I can convert this piece of code to find the largest number between these three numbers using the ternary operator, right? Okay, see. So for the ternary operator, how many conditions are required? How many operators are required? You have something called question mark and you have something called these two operator or not? So this is your condition,
Yes, sir.
right? If the condition is true, then you need to execute this successful block or you need to execute this false condition. Then what is the first condition? The first condition is A greater than B, right? If A greater than B, then again we have another condition. What is the condition? A greater than C. So you have to write like this is our expression, this is our true condition, and this is our. So if the condition is true, this or whatever the code I'm going to write, okay, let me increase. Okay, if this condition is true, whatever the code I am going to write as part of this section is going to be executed. If the condition is false, then whatever the statement I'm going to write as part of this block is going to be executed. Is that clear? Now, this is our question mark and this is our column, and this question mark column itself is a ternary operator because we are working with a three operand or three expression. This is first expression, this is second expression, this is third expression. This expression is going to return you true or false. If it returns true, this part is going to be executed. If it returns false, this part is going to be executed. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So first of all, it will check A is greater than B. If the condition is true, then this section is going to be executed. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So in this section, again, what I'm going to do, I'm putting three things. This is another condition I'm going to put, right? Here also I'm going to put another condition. So in this expression, you can also have some other expression, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just taking A is greater than C. If A is greater than C, then A is greater than B, and if A is greater than C, then what is the largest number?
A.
A. Else, what is the largest number?
C.
C. Right? This true part is completed. Now, if A is greater than B and if it returns false, then this code, this expression is going to be executed or not?
Yes, sir.
So in this expression, in this section, again, we have another condition. So whenever you want to execute a condition, so you need to put like this: condition, successful, and failure, right? So what is the condition here,
B is greater than C.
right? So what is the condition? A is greater than, B is greater than C. This is the second condition. If B is greater than C, then who is going to be your biggest
B.
number?
B.
B. And who is going to be your smallest number? Sorry, then if it is this condition is true, B is the biggest number, else C is the biggest one.
Yes.
So writing this, see here I'm not using this parenthesis. I can read and write. So using parenthesis is optional, right? Even here also, if you don't want to use parenthesis, this is fine. But if you are using parenthesis, it makes the expression explicitly defined that this is one expression. So in this case, now if I go and execute the program, then it should return me 150. You are getting 150 or not?
Yes, sir.
Now let's make B as 250. And if you make this as 250, then you will get 250. Now let's make this as 300, then you will get that the largest number is 300. Largest number is 300. So now it is your option. So if you want, then you can write on the, you can achieve the same thing using if else statement, or even you can write the ternary operator and get the largest, right? But while writing the ternary operator, so follow this approach. First make the block. This is expression 1, this is expression 2, and this is expression 3. So here you need to put question mark, and again here inside you need to write like this. So is that clear?
Yes,
Sir, it is clear, but writing this kind of code is necessary or optional?
See, I have shown you two things. You can achieve the same thing using if else statement. But in this if else statement, your code length is going to be high. At least 10 lines you need to write. In this case, you can achieve or you can get the same thing, but using a single line of statement, right?
Sir, it is okay, but without practicing, it's feels so complicated in questions.
So if you are going to write a simple addition program and if you are not practicing, then that simple addition program will feel you like a complex program. But if you do practices, then the complex things will, what I can say, the complex things will like very easier for you. So before few days, I just watched the commentary from Shikant. She is saying that for excellent bowler, Shreyas Iyer is an ordinary batsman. But for ordinary bowler, Shreyas Iyer is an excellent batsman. So in the same way, you need to do this. If you are practicing and if you are doing practices and practices, the things will be simpler for you. But if you are not doing practices, then the simpler things will feel like a complex thing for you, right? So practice is important.
Okay. So, sir, instead of using uh, three or more condition, uh, if it is possible, by example, you can see one or two variable, and then we can use if condition. So, I think it's better
See,
understand.
see, previously I have shown you the example using one and two conditions only. So if
No,
you
no,
look
no,
at
sir. So, no, sir. This is not the new way of writing the if-else condition.
new way means what you want to know. Can you
Yeah,
tell me?
it's here above line A is greater than B question mark A is greater than C.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Ternary operator, sir.
So this is the use of ternary operator, na?
Yes.
So the ternary operator and if else both are two different things, right? You can achieve the same thing for the, see, always not possible that the ternary operator will do the things which is done by if block, right? It is not always possible, but sometimes it is possible that whatever things or whatever functionality you achieve using if else condition, you can achieve using the ternary operator, right? Now it is your, if you want to use ternary operator, then you need to use like this.
Okay.
right? And if you want to go with the if else condition, then you need to go like this. But alternative way of writing if else condition is not there. If you are going for if else condition, then it is going to be if and else only. You need to write if and you need to write this. And here the condition is going to be an expression. Here I'm just giving a simple expression. Even if you want, you can also write like this: if a greater than b and a greater than c, then the largest number is c. You can directly write like this. No need to do this, right? Then else if. So that is our nested if else, right? Again if else if, right?
Right.
Sure, na? So here a is greater than b, and here I'm writing a is greater than b, and you can see a is less than c. Then here, so here it is the largest number is a, and here the largest number is going to be c, right? And else you can write like this: else the largest number is going to be. So in this way you can also write. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the thing is that whatever you have written inside the if block, it should return true or false. In this case, if a is greater than b and a is greater than c, so if this is true and this is true, and this is a logical AND operator, it will return true. And if both the conditions are true, means a is greater. In this case, if a is greater than b, but a is less than c, right? So in this case, if both the condition is true, that means C is the largest number. If neither of if and else condition are true, then B is going to be the largest number, right?
Right, sir.
I think we have done some mistake in our logic.
Yes.
If A is greater than B, so this is our false condition. So you need to check the business logic, right? So here we have written, see, if A is greater than B, A is 150, B is 250. The condition is false. So it will come to this part. A is greater than B and A is less than C. This condition is false. So that's why it is putting like this. So here again, you need to write multiple if else condition. So if B is greater than C and A is greater than B, so that basically depend on your business requirement, right? You need to design the logic. You understand what I'm trying to say you?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Yeah. So in this example, this is not working because you need to put your business logic. So you need to decide how I'm going to write the logic. Writing the logic is the important thing. Using the syntax and all these things is not that important, right?
Right, sir.
So in this way, you need to write the if else. So now we are going to discuss one of the example using the if else ladder, right? So if else ladder means you have multiple if else condition. If none of the condition is satisfied, then the last else condition is going to be executed. Okay, let us see one example. See, here you can see if I equals to 10, this block is going to be executed. The way I'm trying to explain you the previous example, this is the same example. Else if I equals to 15, this block is going to be executed. Else if I equals to 20, this block is going to be executed. Else if none of the condition is satisfied, then this block is going to be executed. All right. Now let's try to execute this program. So I is 20. So I have given I value as 20. So this condition is satisfied, that this block is going to be executed. Right now, let's put I as 200. See, I is not present. That means none of the condition is satisfied. None of the condition is satisfied, and hence the else block is going to be executed. And remember, else block is always optional. If you want, you can. If you don't want, you can comment the same. and you will not get any error. Now try to execute, nothing will be printed because none of the condition is satisfied. Let's make this as 20, and in this case you will get I value as 20. So this is nothing but your if else ladder, right? So you are writing multiple else if condition, and at any given point of time only one block is going to be executed. If any of the condition is satisfied, the corresponding statement will be executed. If none of the condition is satisfied, and if you have mentioned the else block, then that else block is going to be executed.